Hello and welcome to the channel. We are the Hologrumps. My name is Colum.
And I'm Liam.
And we're here today to talk to you about our recommendations for things to watch, because we couldn't really think of anything else to put on this Monday video.
Mundane Monday.
Monday.
No more Monday movie mayhem.
No, we couldn't afford to go to cinema every week. But before you do that, obviously, if we could get you to like and subscribe and hit the bell notification as well, so you get to see all the notifications about our channel. It really helps our channel grow. We really appreciate that. Myself and Liam have been watching things over the past week that weren't Star Trek Picard, because we have lives to lead and we actually don't like torturing ourselves. So, Liam, what have you been watching?
When I found out that the Clone Wars Season 7 was coming out, I wanted to make it my endeavour to watch all of the Clone Wars from start to finish, because, believe it or not, I didn't actually know about this show, as embarrassing as that is. Whenever anyone referred to the Clone Wars, I thought of the old 2003 cartoon. So I knew what was going on in between the show, and then all of a sudden, Colin says to me after we finished watching The Mandalorian, oh yeah, well, a lot of this stuff was explained in the Clone Wars. I was like, oh, okay, so better go and watch it. So my takeaways so far, I'm halfway through Season 2 at the moment, and it's really just great, fun, easy viewing, and it's good old-fashioned escapism at its finest. It's a diverse cast of aliens. That means we don't have to worry about, forced diversity, because it exists in this universe, because we're just surrounded by aliens. And the show has a real natural flow to it in terms of Star Wars canon, because of course it was overseen by George Lucas and developed by Dave Filoni, which gives it a consistent artistic vision. The pros in the show: it develops the epic tales of the Clone Wars that of course were touched on in episode 2 and 3 and were referenced by C-3PO to Luke Skywalker in A New Hope. Of course, many of the Star Wars games did elaborate to the Clone Wars. In fact, we see the 501st in the Clone Wars series, which we got to play as in Star Wars Battlefront 2 2005. We get loads of exciting new characters. Of course, the clones, we delve into them and see the human aspect of them, because they're not just these machines, which is very important when you see the carnage that is done to the clones in any of the films, and you're like, but these are real people. And of course, it develops on that, which is great to see. Of course, they aren't all identical in terms of personality. Their training heavily impacted their personality. We get brave ones, cowardly ones, and even traitorous ones. Another aspect of it that I do really enjoy, which I was surprised by at first, is the character of Ahsoka Tano, which I knew of beforehand. She does gradually grow on you as the show progresses, because she, of course, is introduced as the typical generic young whippersnapper, smart-talking kid who has to prove their own against their master, who's also the young whippersnapper Anakin Skywalker. But throughout the show, through her own failings and hardships and achievements, she develops as a character. And these characters, of course, bring an endless optimism that we'd expect from Star Wars, which is great throughout the entire show. Cons, I suppose, there are a lot of meandering, laborious stories in the first season, and that's probably why it took me so long to get through the first season, because I was like, it's kind of just...
It was finding its feet, was it?
It was finding its feet, yeah. And then the second Season 2 started, and you get these new characters, and it's like, okay, this show has found its footing, and I really enjoyed that. But you could almost skip Season 1 if you have a good understanding of Star Wars. The other thing is, I find at this point in the season, Obi-Wan's a little bit pathetic compared to Anakin and Ahsoka.
A little bit underpowered.
Yeah, he just kind of runs around and gets injured and says, oh, Anakin, you shouldn't be doing that. And Anakin does it anyway. And the other thing as well, and they did start the show with an episode about Yoda, which was terrific. And I was thinking, God, is this what the show's going to be like? And then it's just a lot of Ahsoka and Anakin, which is good. But I'd love to see more of the other Jedi in the Order.
And Liam, what do you expect from the show? Are you going to try to get to the very end of it before it ends?
That's my endeavourment, to reach the very end of the show with what limited time I do have to binge it, and hopefully review the final season of Star Wars, the Clone Wars, but that might be just being optimistic. Might just jump in and review it anyway. Sure, why not? Normie review, Monday Normie Mayhem. And Colin, what did you want to show us for this week?
So this week, I haven't been watching a TV series, and I haven't been watching anything on Netflix, but I have been watching something on YouTube called GDQ, or Games Done Quick. The basic premise is to finish games quickly and raise money for charity. Whether that's 100% completion or an any percent speedrun, I've watched loads of them on YouTube, and all the money that's donated actually goes to a great cause as well. They basically get gamers who are proficient with finishing the game quickly, and they get a couch of people behind them who are also proficient with it to do commentary as well. It really has some great moments in it. Like there are some really interesting moments in it. And it can be a bit bizarre seeing how someone can finish a 60-hour game in under 2 hours. The most recent one I actually watched was Pokemon Crystal. It was really enjoyable seeing the runners mess up everything in the run. The run ended up taking about 3 hours and 30 minutes. You can't really watch them all in one go.
Yeah, do you think that would work for us? We could do a GDB, games done bad.
Well, I don't want to toot my own horn, but I'm a pretty slick gamer. Hashtag add me, spitting fist at PSN.
And we do have the couch as well to set up.
Sit on.
Yeah.
It's all for a great cause, though. All the money that gets raised gets donated to cancer foundations, to medical foundations. You start to see amazing donations come in. And people aren't just donating to the charity, they're donating to get different GDQs done. For example, there have been ones where people have played Pokemon Blue blindfolded. If you've ever played a game like that, not an easy thing to do, but these guys spend hours upon hours attempting to do these things. This only happens though if they pass the donation amount, so people have to keep donating in to get up to say $4,000 to make sure that it actually passes that specific amount. Probably the most amazing thing is actually the amounts people do donate to this. People can be donating the amounts of up to $1,000 sometimes, hundreds of dollars. At one point, the streamer or the runner said, yeah, so whatever your favorite Pokemon is, just donate that amount. And he said it completely as a joke. He didn't expect people to actually start donating $334 because their favorite Pokemon was such and such, $154 because they love Vaporeon. It was incredible to see it, and they blew through all of their quotas, which was amazing. Now, the pros of this, it's a great thing to watch in the background because you don't really have to pay much attention to it. Really makes you want to play the games you played in the past. It makes you really nostalgic for all those games to see how well you could do. And it is, like I said, it's a great bit of nostalgia and insight into games and thinking about games in a way that you might not have thought about them before. Cons, I suppose, some of them can be very, very long. I just started one for Final Fantasy VIII. It's 8 hours long. I definitely won't be finishing that anytime soon. And unfortunately, you don't always get an interesting runner or an interesting couch to commentate on it. So some of them can actually be really boring as well.
And which platform would you usually watch these on? Twitch or YouTube? Or
they're streamed on Twitch. They're streamed live on Twitch, and then they're uploaded to YouTube. So they're all accessible at YouTube. And because they're charity events, they only happen at certain times. There's the winter one, which happened this January. So it happened for a few days this January. And there's also the summer one, which will happen later on this year as well. They're great to watch on YouTube because you just put them on in the background and just zone out.
And can anyone take part in this, or you can just watch and donate money?
Oh, you can just watch and donate money, but you can't
set up your own stream and collect.
But you could, in theory, you could do your own charity stream. The issue with that is like you wouldn't really get the people. No, these are done in convention halls and things like that. But anyway, Liam, do you have any other shows you actually watched?
I do have one other show that I binged from start to finish very recently, and the certain character sitting next to me here might be a giveaway. He's been sitting beside me ever since we started, and that was My Little Pony. Believe it or not, I started watching it after my girlfriend put it on. I originally thought that it was just some mindless show for kids, and I never would have had any interest in watching it. But after about 20 minutes, 40 minutes, an hour of watching the episodes, I was like, oh, this is actually a very good form of escapism here, which has a very nice message to it as well. It's well written, filled with diverse and colourful characters.
Cheers, Liam. You're great for the old diversity, aren't you?
I am. Yes, I do love diversity. I don't like forced diversity. But the characters always remain consistent to who they are. They remain that way. On top of that, something that solidified my love of the show was in Season 2, we were introduced to this bloke sitting next to me here, a renowned Star Trek actor. The show was paying homage, in a very good way, to Q in the character of Discord. And he's not the only Star Trek actor to appear. We have a very poignant and well-written episode starring William Shatner. That episode tells the story of the parentage of Applejack, Big Mac, and Apple Bloom, heavily featured characters in the show. And it also turns out that the show's creator, Lauren Faust, is a Star Trek fan. And it's very apparent in the optimism of the show. You can make your own headcanon, I suppose, if you want. I've done that, where the whole universe is actually another universe which Q is involved in.
It's the Nexus.
Yeah, the Nexus. I mean, anything's possible. In fact, they even pay homage to that in one of the comic books where they have Discord or Q give 3 of the characters tasks where they have to try and find their cutie marks. You'd figure out what they are if you watched the show. But he beams them aboard the Enterprise D and he's in his Inquisitor Q outfit. And it's quite funny. But I believe that the show demonstrates the sorry state of Trek at the moment in the fact that I'd rather watch a show about cartoon ponies than current Star Trek. The pros, I suppose, it's a great fun show, and some episodes you can literally laugh for 20 minutes straight from start to finish, and you can see a great comedy of errors on display in many cases. It has very vibrant characters. Every character has their own unique personality and contribution to the show, and you couldn't have the show without them. It's very easy to binge, just like the Clone Wars. It's 20 minutes per episode, and you can jump into the show pretty much anywhere, just like old Star Trek. There are some instances where you're going to have overarching stories, but they aren't that rigid. The cons, I suppose, it's almost like
it's a guilty pleasure.
Yeah, it's almost like a guilty pleasure because people from the outside don't understand what the show is, and
I don't.
Yeah, so you just seem like some strange person watching a show.
Obsessed. You're a brony.
Essentially, yes. And John Delancey is actually quoted, and it's very funny. He does his interview where he says when he started playing Discord, he asked his wife, do you know My Little Pony? And she said, yeah, it's that cartoon for little girls. And he said, well, I've received hundreds of emails from fans, and they aren't little girls. So it's that misconception. There are also, on the con side, I suppose, there are plenty of episodes that you'll want to skip. I mean, not every episode is as good as the next, but that's the case with every show. And I suppose after 10 years, the problem that they had is the fact that friendship is magic is well established, so it kind of wanders off topic from that point. But the finale of the show does stick to the landing, and it gives it great rewatchability, unlike a certain other show that recently aired. Game of Thrones.
Liam, is it accessible to everyone?
I suppose anyone with a Netflix account can access the show.
But should everyone watch it?
If you're looking for a form of fun escapism, and you'll be surprised, just turn it on and watch maybe 2 or 3 episodes. And it's just this thing of I'm sick of looking at politics injected into every show I watch and having a certain point of view being preached at me. Why can't I just watch something that's fun and takes me away from the world? Because I can read the news if I want to be embedded in politics. And I think we'll close it up there. So, we would highly recommend these shows if you're interested in checking them out. They may not necessarily be for everyone, but just at least give them a go. And also, if you like what you see in the channel, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. We will be back on Thursday for our live stream review of Star Trek Picard. Oh. And to give our review the following day. So, for the Hologrumps, I've been Liam.
And I'm Colum.
Existence is futile.